except it's just very cold outside.
Aha, the opposite.
Yeah, it's very warm for you guys, right? Or I guess it's getting
A little
warmer
bit.
for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yeah,
finally it's getting warmer.
nice. Yesterday, the temperature here was 16 degrees Celsius. Today, it was 3 degrees Celsius.
Wow, it
Yeah,
is
a big
very fast.
change. I
Yeah,
know, I know. Everyone is talking about it. We are all surprised that the temperature has decreased by this much this quickly.
very wow.
Yeah.
And it is usual or
No, this is unusual. This is the first time I think in many years that we have seen a change like this. But we blame this on Canada because the wind from Canada is very
uh-huh.
cold and it comes from the north into the south and it hits us. And when that cold Canadian wind hits us, we always have these problems. But usually the cold Canadian wind does not arrive until November, but it's only October and we it's very cold already.
Mm,
Yeah. We
yeah,
don't like Canada.
because of their wind.
Yeah, they always send the worst, the coldest wind from Canada just comes and attacks us every winter. And it
Oh.
really is not fun. I mean, I don't like it.
So where you live, it's near Canada.
Yeah, we actually don't border Canada, but we are very close to Canada. So maybe 6 hours north of us, if you drive, you'll hit Canada. So maybe like, I don't know, 700, 800 kilometers
Ah, okay, okay.
from us. Which
You
is
are in
actually, it sounds
Wis
like it's actually kind of far.
you live in Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin, exactly. Exactly. Not a lot of people know about it, but that's where I live. Uh, yep. So Wisconsin is close to Michigan. It's close to Minnesota. These are all other states around us, and we don't actually border Canada. Just by a little bit, we don't border it. Minnesota borders Canada, so if I want to drive to Canada, I need to go to through Minnesota and then north, couple hundred more kilometers. So
A bit
I
near.
Yeah, I want to actually go to Minnesota. I have not been to Minnesota yet. So one of my friends lives there, and he told me, "You must come here. We will go and we'll go fishing. We'll do some interesting things. Like I want to do ice fishing, right? So in the winter we do that a lot, or people do it. I have never done it, but you go into the lake that's frozen, and you make a hole in the ground, and you catch
Uh-huh.
fish.
Oh,
Yeah,
but I guess you need to be careful or because you could fall in the ice.
yeah. People fall. People die every year, but I think that's part of the challenge.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think it'll be
Just
fun.
for a fish.
Just for, well, if you're good, more than one fish, right?
Ah, yeah.
Maybe you can catch like seven or eight. That's really good. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Hey, Murad, how's it going?
Maybe he's
Oh,
muted.
hey.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Murad, you there?
Hi. Hi, hi, hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No worries, no worries.
Sorry.
Good, good, good. I just want to make sure you were here. No, it's fine. And how have you guys been? Did you do anything cool, Julissa, recently? Did you do anything interesting or fun? My
Just
life is boring, so.
the usual. Um, but hopefully this November, the beginning, I will travel again. And
Uh-huh.
after that trip, uh, things are going to be more busier because the last month of the year it gets really, really busy. So
Uh-huh.
I think this will be my last month here in Colingo, but hopefully I will be back after November.
Nice, fantastic. Yeah, we wish you the best, and hopefully it was a good experience for you. I think it was personally. I think you maybe liked it, right?
Yeah, I've enjoyed. I've learned about many topics, and I speak with the native speakers. That's a lot. Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's always a good benefit. And Murad, what about you? Any interesting things recently? Anything cool happened today?
I just went to the movies theater.
What'd you watch?
I watched the so-called Gravity.
Oh, Gravity. How was that one? I've heard a lot of things about it.
Yeah. They acted in a space station.
Was it a good movie? Did you like it?
So-so.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews. I think people liked it because was George Clooney in it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. George Clooney, I think, just attracts a special audience that, he has a lot of fans, so that's interesting. And who's the actress again? I forgot.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra
I don't know her.
Sandra Bullock. Okay.
Yeah.
I know her as well. She's
What's the name of the movie?
Gravity.
Yeah. Is it a new one?
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I think it's pretty new, right? When did it get released? Like a few months ago, I think maybe, right?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's still relatively new, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Saul, how's it going?
Hi, teacher. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Good,
Saul.
good.
Hi.
I'm good. You guys are all, I guess, I'm just looking up Sandra Bullock right now. She was the producer for a very interesting show that I love, George Lopez. If you guys have ever seen the George Lopez show, she was a producer for the George Lopez show. One of my favorite shows. I love that series. It's about a family, just a family man. Have you guys heard of George Lopez? He's a Mexican-American comedian. A very funny guy. Maybe if you guys want to look him up later. But Sandra Bullock she was a producer for that show. I think they made 6 seasons, and it was very interesting. She was in some of the episodes as well. So, hey, Saul, how's it going? How was your, did you do anything cool today, interesting?
Well, 2 days ago, I starting a little course of programming HTML for my friends. I am teaching them how to programming, and it's very hard because they are people that never in their life have programming nothing. It's very interesting to me because I never have been teaching before. Yes.
Absolutely right. It's good though. You're teaching. You will learn a lot, I think, through teaching them.
Yes. I thought that it will be more quickly, but it's very slow because I need to explain everything with carefully.
Kind of like step by step, right?
Yes, step by step.
Step by step, yeah. Makes sense. Hey, Marcelo, how's it going? Tudo beleza?
Fine, you. Fine, beleza.
I learned just one phrase today from somebody else on Colingo, so I'm using it. Todo beleza, or is it todo beleza?
Tudo beleza, tudo beleza.
Todo beleza. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Todo beleza. Okay. Todo beleza. It sounds like todo belleza in
like
Spanish. Exactly. It's like how are you, right? Or I think maybe the literal translation is everything good? Is everything beautiful? Or
yeah, I think it's like what's up?
What's up?
Because it's a slang. To the beleza, it's a slang here.
It's a slang. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was funny for me when I learned it because I use it with people who are, I should be more professional with, but
you have a great accent, Brazilian accent.
Oh, thank you. Muito obrigado.
Yeah, thank you. You are welcome.
I don't know how to say you're welcome. I know just how to say thank you. So it's fine.
So you say de nada.
Oh, so it's the
The
same in
same.
Spanish then. De nada.
De
Yeah,
nada.
de nada. Okay. Muito
But the
obrigado
melody
and
is
de
different.
nada.
Portuguese
Muito
and
obrigada.
Spanish are the both languages are very similar, you know.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Okay. Muito obrigado and de nada. Okay. Fantastic. Awesome, guys. Well, let's get started then. We are all here. Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to be looking at two different things. So, as in every class, but today our grammar lesson is going to be looking at the past perfect, right? So we've had enough future perfect for a long time. Today we're going to look at our past perfect tense, right? And then at the same time, we are also going to be investigating what is going on in the Mediterranean Sea, right? The topic of this class, I named this class, "The Mediterranean is Turning into a Cemetery," and this was inspired by the article that we are going to read about today. Unfortunately, in recent months, there have been many shipwrecks of people, shipwrecks in the Mediterranean Sea, carrying people that were trying to flee North Africa for Europe. Refugees, migrants from places like Libya, for example, they are fleeing their countries and they want to go to Europe, but in the midst of their travels, when they were in the Mediterranean, their ships were wrecked and they have perished in the waters, right? So this is something that is really sad. The European Union is looking into different things about this. Yeah, so Ulisa, wrecked is like this, and it's just another way to say was destroyed, right? So a shipwreck is when a ship is destroyed.
It's like a plane crashed.
Yeah, right. We can also say a plane wreck, although it's a little bit more uncommon. But we can say plane crash. Plane crash is very common, right? Fantastic, fantastic. So before we go, let's just start with the past perfect, right? So when we talk about the past perfect, right, we are using a tense in that allows you to talk about an event that happened in the past before another event that happened in the past, right? So we are comparing two events that happened in the past, right? And usually we use a simple past in combination with the past perfect, right? So for example, I can say, my mother called me on my cell phone, but I had already turned it off, right? My mother tried to call me on my cell phone or called me on my cell phone, but I had already turned it off, right? So I didn't receive her call, right? So what is the construction that we look at here, right? Remember, because we are talking about two events that happened in the past, one before another, it makes sense to use the past perfect in combination with the simple past, right? So just looking at the construction of the past perfect, we have the subject, then we have the word had, and then we have the verb in the past participle form, right? So if we were just to practice making the past perfect, how would we do it? Yulisa, can you give us an example of a sentence just looking at the past perfect? We don't have to look at the simple past if you don't want.
Example, like I hadn't cleaned my bedroom when my mother arrived home this weekend.
Yeah, so that's an example, right? I had cleaned my bedroom when my mother arrived this weekend,
home
right?
this weekend.
Yeah, that works, right? Because you have one situation that's in the past, and you have the other one in the past perfect, right? So, but we don't have to get that complicated right now, Julissa, if you don't want to. We just want to practice creating this past perfect tense.
I had bought candles.
I had bought candles. Fantastic, right? I had bought candles, right? Marcelo, can you give us another example of just the past perfect? We don't have to worry about the longer sentence.
Just the fact she hadn't made the dinner.
She had made the dinner, right? Fantastic.
Yeah.
She had made dinner. Yeah.
She had, or she hadn't made the junior.
Absolutely,
The
right?
negative, yeah.
Absolutely. So what's the negative construction? The negative construction is we just add a not after the had, right? Something had happened, something had not happened, right? So that's how we make the negative, right? So good job with that. We actually killed our next part of the lesson, right? That was going to be the next part. So had and had not, right? Murad, can you give us an example of a sentence with the past perfect?
The criminal had fled before the police arrived.
Fantastic. The criminal had fled before the police arrived. So in this case, we are using, like we looked at before, simple present, a simple past, excuse me, in combination with past perfect, right? Something happened before another event, right? And so, last but not least, a sentence with the past perfect, please.
Okay, I had written a book.
I had written a book. Fantastic. I had written a book, right? So now, Marcelo and Murad, you guys already did this part. I want to ask Julissa. So Julissa, how would we incorporate the past tense into one of these sentences so that we can compare one event in the past with another event in the past, right? So we are using both the past tense, the simple past tense, as well as the past perfect. Could you think of an example?
Okay. The electricity came after I had already bought candles.
Fantastic. The electricity came back. We should say came back, right? Yeah, the electricity came back, but I had already bought candles. Great example. Great example. But I had already bought candles, right? Fantastic. And Saul, can you give me an example of another sentence where we are looking at the combination of the simple past with the past perfect?
The game hadn't started
So the game hadn't started,
when we got to the stadium.
Fantastic. The game hadn't started when we got to the stadium, right? The game hadn't started when we got to the stadium, right? So that's a good example as well. So Saul, same kind of example. Go ahead.
Mm, uh, I don't know.
So let's think of it just in two parts, right? Let's think of a
Yeah.
situation, and then one of them is the past tense, normal past tense, and the second is the past perfect, right? So
Okay.
let's start with the scenario, yeah, any scenario that you want, and we can make it from there.
Okay. I don't know. My dog uh, ate a bun, and I have already prepared his food.
Very good, but we have just one thing, right? So you said the dog ate his bone, but you are now comparing things, right? So you should say, instead of and, you should say but, right?
Of
So
course,
the dog ate his bone, but, and then you said, I think you said, I have prepared his meal. Did you say have or had?
I have prepared his meal.
Yeah, right, so we have to use had, right? So the dog ate his bone, right? But I had already prepared his meal, right? So now you're talking about two different things in the past, which is exactly what we want, right? We have the first example, or what happened first was the dog ate his bone, but or maybe what happened first was you had already prepared the meal, but the dog also ate the bone, right? So these two things in the past. I think you guys did a great job. Any questions on this construction of the past perfect and its combination with the past tense so far?
Okay, I
No.
am good.
Don't all jump up at once, guys. Come on, you can don't fight, don't fight.
No, no, it's
Okay,
okay.
I will ask.
Okay, go ahead, Jaleesa, please.
Eh,
Yes.
we
Uh-huh.
use this tense when we want to talk about something that happened and interrupted other, not interrupted, or two situations that encounter,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, so we have two situations, right? So you had, for example, I was cleaning my room. Well, actually, that is more the past progressive and the simple past, right? So the interruption we usually used in combination with the we have the past tense in combination with the past progressive, right? I was cleaning my room when my mother called me, right? So that's the type of situation where it's an interruption. Here, we are looking at just comparing two events in the past, one before the other, right? So it's actually, I didn't specifically mention this, but it's actually really good to use words like after, before, or by the time. Remember how we used by and in for the future perfect, right? We can also use
Yes.
by. We can also use by and before and after and those kinds of sentences, or those kinds of words, excuse me, those kinds of prepositions for sentences here, right? So for example, I had already cooked dinner by the time my mother arrived, right? I had already cooked dinner by the time my mother arrived, right? Yeah, so by the time, before, after, we looked at just and but also, but we can also use these other words to describe situations. So really, the essence of the lesson is comparing two actions in the past, one which happened before the other, right?
Okay.
So you're describing that kind of thing, right? Um, Great question though. Any other questions, guys, about this part so far? Wow, you
Is
guys are
it
so. Go ahead,
is it
Marcelo.
right? Is it right? Ship hadn't
Oh,
arrived because it cracked.
yeah, that's a good sentence. I forgot to look at that. So the ship hadn't arrived because it.
Cracked.
No,
So
Cracked.
we can't have it like that though. Murad, what would you say?
I would say the ship didn't arrive because it had wrecked.
Uh-huh. Well, we can say the ship hadn't or the ship didn't arrive because it was wrecked, right? We can use was or we can say so a
Had been
couple
wrecked.
had been wrecked exactly, right? So a couple ways to say this, Marcelo, right? If we so one example is the ship didn't arrive because it had been wrecked, right? So here we're looking at once again the combination of the past tense with the past perfect, right? Because the past perfect here is it had been wrecked, right? Been is a past participle of be, right? So and then the regular standard past tense is didn't arrive, right? Did not arrive. So the ship did not arrive or didn't arrive because it had been wrecked, right? So that would probably be the best way to do it. Another way to do it would be the ship hadn't arrived because
So
it was wrecked.
so I have to use the simple past first and the
Not
after.
not necessarily. You can do it either way, right? So because the ship had been wrecked, it did not arrive,
Okay.
right? That's another way you can say it. If you want to switch the order, because the ship had been wrecked, it did not arrive. But that's a little bit more. It's a little unusual to hear that. We generally use the past tense first, and then we say the past perfect,
Okay.
right? So uh, actually, let me take that back.
I got you.
No, actually, that's right. I would say that's actually pretty accurate. We use the past tense first, and then we use the past perfect, normally in conversation.
Past tense first, after uh, past perfect.
Exactly. Past tense first, and then after simple past tense first, and then the past perfect, right? So usually that's
Okay.
the best way to do it. Okay, guys, so I think we're good with this. I'm going to move on to the second part of the lesson, which is when we are making the past perfect continuous. Okay? Past perfect continuous. So when do we use the past perfect continuous, right? The past perfect continuous we use when we are trying to show that there was an action in the past that continued until a specific time in the past. So the emphasis is on the continuous action, right? That's why it's a past perfect continuous. So we can say, for example, um, I had been working all day when my boss gave me extra work, right? I had been working all day when my boss gave me extra work, right? So up to that point when your boss gave you extra work, you had been working all day, continuously. The entire day you had been working, right? This happens to a lot of us, right? Sometimes you're at your job and you get more work even though you had been working all day, right? So really the situation is similar to what we looked at before, except here the construction is different, right? So when we want to make the past perfect continuous, the construction that we use is we have the subject, then we have had been, then we have a verb that ends in ing, right? So I had been working until when I had been working all day when suddenly my boss gave me more work. Something like that, right? You can indicate that up to a point in time something was continuous and then something else happened, right? Any questions on that, guys? Just that initial part.
I'm just thinking.
Sure, go ahead. It's good to think. And really, in this case, many of the times we use the past simple tense, the simple past tense in this example as well, right? Because you're like I said in the last example, I had been working all day when my boss gave me more work, right? So the simple past is gave, and the past perfect continuous was I had been working all day,
I
right?
have been studying the whole day, and out of the blue, my teacher giving me more texts.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Tasks.
Tasks, yeah.
Tasks, right? So I had been studying all day, and out of the blue, my teacher gave me more tasks.
Yeah.
Right? What does out of the blue mean, Marcelo? Could you explain to the rest of the class?
Suddenly.
Suddenly, right? Suddenly. So something that surprises you, right? Out of the blue. This is a phrase, guys. If you guys haven't heard this before, out of the blue means suddenly, right? I don't know why it's blue and not black or red, but it's something we say in English, out of the blue.
And
Right?
there is a phrase here when you say, "I am on the cloud number 9." Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I'm on cloud 9.
When you are happy, yeah.
Yeah, when you're super happy, you're on cloud 9. So these are nice idioms. When we hear I'm on cloud 9, right? This doesn't mean anything. Cloud 9, what does that mean, right? But it means
it's awkward, you know.
It is. It's something that's very funny, right? And you know, another thing they say is a chip on his shoulder. Have you guys heard that? He's got a chip on his shoulder, right? It doesn't make any sense, but what does it mean if somebody has a chip on his shoulder? Have you guys heard this one before?
Chip on the shoulder? No, I don't know.
It's something that is. It means that they have something that they are. Somebody is holding a grudge, or somebody has something that they are trying to live down, right? Maybe their entire life they had a one failure or one bad event in their life that they always have that in the back of their mind. Like maybe somebody treated you very unfairly, right?
Okay.
Maybe you never got a chance to go to university, right?
Okay.
Now the rest of your life you carry that guilt or that bad feeling like, man, every other person I see, they're so successful, they went to university. I didn't go to university. It's a chip on my shoulder, right? So he has politicians say a lot of this stuff, right? That guy's got a chip on his shoulder because he had to work his way through life, right? Or whatever, things like that. So not to distract you guys, but because these are some cool phrases that I've heard recently.
Yeah, have you heard about scattered to the four winds?
It's scattered to all four winds?
Or scattered to the four winds. For instance, my family were scattered to the four winds. My family were divided, you know? Separated.
Yeah, exactly. Scattered to the four winds, right? That means something that has been... I actually have not heard that one before.
Yeah, I think it's
Or
funny
sent to different places.
Different, awkward, you know.
Yeah, sent to different places. Yeah, Murad, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, scout to the four winds, right? North, south, east, west, four winds. There you go.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So, guys, let's try to make some examples with the past perfect continuous, if you guys don't mind. I know idioms are fun, but I want to just ask one last question to each of you guys. So, let's start with Julissa. I always start with the
I
person at the beginning. Yeah, Marcelo, go ahead.
I thought you had forgotten about the past continuous, so you
No,
keep
no, no,
on
no.
talking about phrases here. I think
No, that's
I
fine. No
was
worries.
I was enjoying it.
I know, I know. I'm that bad teacher that just gets everyone back to class, you know.
Okay.
Start talking again. Okay, let's go, Julissa. Let's start with past perfect continuous. Anything that you like. Remember, we can combine it with the past tense if you would like. Right?
Okay. For
Yeah.
example, I had been jogging for some hours before going to work.
I had been jogging for a few hours before going to work. Okay. Sounds good to me, right? It's the only thing I would say about that is you could actually technically just use the present past the past continuous, and it wouldn't really be any difference, right? I was jogging for a few hours, or I jogged for a few hours before going to work, right? So you could have just used the past tense in that example as well, right? If you wanted, you could have also used that.
Yes.
Yeah, but let me see. I had been jogging for a few hours before going to work. It makes sense, Julissa. It makes sense. I approve. The only thing that I would say is it's a little bit unusual when I first heard it, but it works. You constructed the past perfect perfectly. The past perfect continuous perfectly, right? I had been jogging for a few hours before going to work. I think it makes sense.
Before going to work,
Yeah.
Or
But
before
So
I went.
before I went to work is better, Julissa.
but she didn't use
Yeah.
the
Okay.
she said went.
She said if she says went, then
Yes,
it's a
now
little bit
I
better.
realize.
Yeah. What you said before
Yeah,
was
the
it
difference.
works, but it's a little unusual, right? So I had been jogging for a few hours before I went to work. Fantastic.
Okay.
Because remember, I'm sorry, guys. You want to maintain that difference of we use the past perfect continuous to indicate that something happened until a point in the past, right? Something was happening
Yes.
until a point in the past. So the going, it
So
doesn't work that well.
both are in the past.
Both are in the past. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. For all of these examples, both of the things are in the past, right? The event that we were doing and also the event that ended what we were doing, right? Or that point in time when we stopped doing what we were doing. That's also in the past, right? Good. I'm glad you caught that. It was really good. I'm glad you self-diagnosed that sentence. So, Marcelo, let's go to you, if you don't mind.
I don't feel up to answer this question.
Anything you want to say with the past perfect continuous if you want to make another sentence?
Past continuous.
Past perfect continuous, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had been whatever, yeah.
I was talking to the teacher about phrases a few minutes ago.
So I was talking to the teacher. Is that past perfect continuous?
Yes, I was talking.
No.
No. Sorry.
I was talking is just past continuous.
I haven't been talking to the teacher. About phrases.
About phrasal verbs or about phrases, yeah. 5 minutes
About
ago.
phrases. 5 minutes ago, yeah.
Yeah, it works for me. I don't have any problems with that, right? I had been talking to the teacher about phrases 5 minutes ago. Yeah, that works. You're indicating something, an action that was being done in the past, right? And you're comparing it to another time in the past 5 minutes ago, right?
Okay.
Good. Murad, what about you? Let's hear one from you.
He chipped on his shoulder because of the many problems he's been having.
He had a chip on his shoulder because of the many problems he had been having.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Talk about creativity. Talk about creativity.
I
Gold
like.
star for this guy, right?
Okay.
Very good. He had a chip on his shoulder because he had been facing so many problems in life, right? Fantastic. Two examples, past and past perfect continuous, right? Fantastic. And Saul, last but not least.
Teacher.
I had
Sorry,
been
sorry, sorry.
eating
Uh-huh.
until my lunch finished.
I had been eating until my lunch finished. Fantastic, right? Or until maybe the lunch, like maybe in school, the lunch bell rings, right? I had been eating
Bell
until the lunch bell. Yeah.
bell rings.
Well, we want to keep it in the past, right? So how would we make it in the past?
Okay.
What's the past tense of ring?
Rang.
Rang,
Rang.
right? So what would be the full sentence then?
Uh, I have been eating until my lunch. No, until the bell rang.
Fantastic. I had been eating until the lunch bell rang or until the bell rang, right?
The
Fantastic.
lunch bell rang. Okay.
Exactly. Marcelo, go ahead, please.
No, just I was thinking about the chip on his shoulder. I think I didn't grasp
The
very
idea?
well what the idea of
So someone with a chip on his shoulder is somebody who lives with some inside regret or inside feeling of insecurity, right? So maybe somebody worked really hard in life, but
yeah.
he sees other people that didn't work very hard, and maybe they are more successful than he is, right? It's a chip on his shoulder. He has that feeling of insecurity that he carries with him everywhere, right?
Okay.
Somebody didn't have a good opportunity. They didn't go to school. Maybe they had only one parent, right? And it's something that affects them their entire life because of that difficulty, right? So it's something that you carry with you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's good. It's good. I'm glad you guys are asking these questions because sometimes we get very focused on the grammar and we lose our understanding of, just normal conversation. And I want to include those points whenever we can. So, any questions, guys, on this lesson so far? If not, we'll get started with the article. Man, you guys are screaming
No,
so
no
loud.
question, teacher.
I
No
just-
question.
Okay.
Clear.
It's clear. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. That's why earlier I was saying you guys don't all get up at once. You guys seem very active when I ask those questions. Okay, fantastic. All right, guys. So let's get started. The article we are looking at, if I'm not mistaken, is a BBC article. And let me just find the link, and I'll paste it here. You guys can open it up. So once again, remember, guys, the focus is on learning about what is going on in the Mediterranean. Why is this Mediterranean Sea becoming a cemetery, right? So we'll read more about it. And there's the link, and let us start screen sharing, and we can get started here. Okay. The Mediterranean is a cemetery, says the Maltese Prime Minister Muscat. Oh, that's cool. That's the capital of Oman. I did not know that. Okay. So the Maltese Prime Minister is saying that the Mediterranean is a cemetery. What does Maltese mean? Maltese is a person from the country of Malta, right? Malta is a small island in the Mediterranean. So Italian Navy helicopter footage showed the rescue attempt, so you guys can maybe watch this video later if you would like. Malta's Prime Minister has said European waters close to Africa are turning into a cemetery after another boat laden with migrants capsized. Joseph Muscat said Malta felt abandoned by the rest of Europe and urged the EU to take action. Malta and Italy launched a rescue operation after a boat capsized on Friday, killing at least 30 people. It happened 120 kilometers off Lampedusa, the Italian island where at least 300 migrants drowned last week. On Saturday, rescuers pulled another 20 bodies from the sea, raising the toll from that shipwreck to 359. The loss of life has renewed the debate within EU member states on migration rules. Children among dead. In the latest incident, the vessel carrying more than 200 migrants is believed to have encountered difficulties in Maltese waters just before sunset on Friday. The migrants used a satellite phone to raise the alarm, but the boat capsized when passengers crowded to one side as they tried to get the attention of a passing aircraft, the Maltese Navy said. The BBC's Matthew Price on Lampedusa says the boat was carrying Syrians and Palestinians. The Syrians already in the refugee center on Lampedusa had spoken to friends and relatives who had boarded the vessel, he says. One couple who had survived the journey with their 9-month-old daughter said they had spent an hour in the water. The husband had held the child. Hey, past perfect right here, guys. The husband had held the child to his chest to keep her alive, but he had been unable to help his son, who had drowned in front of them. Earlier on Friday, at least 500 other migrants traveling in separate boats were rescued in Coast Guard operations near the Italian island of Sicily. Also on Friday, a separate boat accident off the Egyptian port of Alexandria claimed the lives of at least 12 migrants. Egyptian security officials said 116 people, mostly Palestinians and Syrians, were pulled from the water. Budget cuts. Mr. Muscat said prompt action between Malta and Italy had saved lives, but he complained that the rest of Europe had supplied only empty talk. I don't know how many more people need to die at sea before something gets done, he said. Rules need to change. Whether they are tighter or looser is not the issue. The fact is that this thing is broken and it needs to be fixed. As things stand, we are building a cemetery within our Mediterranean Sea. After last week's tragedy off of Lampedusa, the European Commission called for the EU to launch Mediterranean-wide search and rescue patrols to intercept migrant boats. The EU's Frontex border agency, set up in 2004, has seen its budget cut from 118 million euros in 2011 to 85 million euros in 2013. Italy has previously appealed to EU states for help in coping with the thousands of illegal migrants who wash up on its shores every year. Our correspondent says that European leaders face a quandary. Quandary, guys, is another way of saying problem, right? Our correspondent says that European leaders face a quandary as they struggle to balance political pressures to restrict migrant numbers with the need to assist those desperate enough to risk such a perilous journey. Right? So the rest of this I don't want to talk too much about, but I do want to focus on this map here at the bottom of this article, guys. So this map actually gives us a good idea, right, of all the numbers of the countries that these folks are coming from. So we see North Africa, we have Morocco, Algeria, and Libya, and these are the waves. So Tunisia is very close to Sicily, very close to the island of Lampedusa. Spain also sees a lot of migrant activity from Algeria and Morocco, and we are also seeing some of these other, it shows here that 30,100 people have traveled so far this year, and Syrians have been around 7,500. Eritrean, small country in Africa, another 7,500. Somalians are 3,000, right? And since 1988, so in the last 26 years or 25 years, 19,142 people have died on these journeys, right? They're just trying to escape North Africa and enter Europe. So guys, what is our reaction to this? Let's start with Julissa.
Yes. Well, this type of loss is always a bit sad. And from what I understood, these people are trying to migrate to Italy. Yeah. So I guess they are trying to search for a better future for them, for their families. Probably trying to escape from the problems of their countries. So yeah, it's sad to know about this news.
Yeah.
But I wonder what exactly happened. Was it a problem from the ship, or?
So this particular ship, what happened, Julissa, was that the people were on a boat, right? The boat probably was overcrowded, and everybody on the boat moved to one side of the ship, or everyone on the boat moved to one side of the boat. So the boat, capsized because all the pressure was on one side, and they were on that one side of the boat because they wanted to attract the attention of a plane that was flying by, right? So they wanted to call at the plane or whatever, and as a result, they all moved to one side of the boat, and that's what they think is the reason behind this, right? But I like what you said, Julissa, about escaping problems at home, right? That is what is compelling these migrants to move, to make this journey into Europe, right? What about Marcelo? Marcelo, what do you think about this?
I was just going to say what the Julissa said. I
Uh-huh.
agree with her, what she said. Yeah.
What are the reasons, do you think, Marcelo, behind them doing these moves? What could be so bad in their countries?
Yeah, I think they are trying to looking for a better life, jobs and whatever.
Yeah, and the countries that we are looking at, that these people are coming from,
Traveling with, sorry, traveling
no,
with
that's fine.
crowded ships,
Uh-huh.
old ships, you know,
Yeah.
throughout the seas. So it's very dangerous,
Would you say they're desperate?
desperate.
Yeah, I think they're desperate, right? Murad, I think you might have an idea because you're from the neighborhood. Could you give us your insight?
Yeah, the case is that some people see Europe as a paradise, and they don't think beforehand that to go there you must go legally. Otherwise, you're just wasting time and maybe you're risking your life.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. And I mean, what do you think are the reasons we see Syrians and Palestinians? What is wrong with both of those countries right now?
Maybe civil wars or
Yeah,
conflicts. They are
yeah.
trying to escape.
Is Syria a country you would choose to be in right now if you had a choice? I don't think so, right?
Otherwise, maybe because they don't have a good future in their home countries.
Exactly, right. So, and these guys are leaving, these people, families are leaving from different parts of the Mediterranean, right? Some are leaving from Egypt, some are leaving from uh, Italy, some are leaving from Tunisia, I'm sorry, not leaving from Italy. Some are leaving from Tunisia, some from Algeria probably, right? Saul, what do you think about this?
The only question that I have is what will happen with the people that arrive to another country? What do that country? They rep they deported uh, again to their country or what?
Very, very good question. Very good question. Does anybody know the answer? What happens when these people reach Italy? Do they get deported back to where they're from, or what's their status at that point?
I think they will be reported where they're from.
Uh-huh. Murad or Julissa, what do you guys think?
I know that in Spain the law for that kind of people is very hard because if 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 they find you, they will deport you to your country.
Yeah,
Or maybe
But
kill you.
or maybe killing. Do you think
Yeah,
that? Do you think they really kill you?
Kill you?
punish you,
I don't
punish
think
or
so.
No.
torture.
No, 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 no.
I hope not, Murad. I'm not sure. I haven't heard of that honestly. That's new to me, but it wouldn't surprise me if some people wanted to kill them, right? So this is part of the problem in Europe, right? Julissa, did you want to say something before? I'm sorry.
No, I said I don't think so about the killing. I think that's too much. But perhaps yes, after they rescue more bodies, once they finish with all the rescues, I guess they will deport the people to their countries.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcelo. Yeah.
is it okay if I jump in for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Conversation.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself here, and I would like to make you folks a question. Um, do they are running away from their countries because the civil wars, or because the the situation that they are looking for a job, better job, or a better place to live, something like that.
Hmm.
Not necessarily because of civil wars. Sometimes
Okay.
they're not satisfied with what they have in their country.
Okay, I got you. All right. Thank you.
I I guess that some of that country that always talk about hell, other country that have wars, uh, they are a little hypocrite. I don't know that is the correct pronoun.
They are highly populated.
Hypocrite. Hy,
Oh,
hypocrite.
hypocrite.
Yes,
Hypocrite.
hypocrite.
Hypocrite. Uh-huh. Yeah.
He he. What is the pronunciation?
Hypocrite.
Hip,
Hypocrite. Uh-huh.
hypocrite. Okay, because if they talk always to help other country, but they don't willing to receive all that refugees
Mhm.
of the war. They don't want it.
Yeah,
So
Saul, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that is absolutely correct, right? So, what is this Maltese prime minister? This guy is saying Europe should help us. Malta is like a tiny, tiny country, right? They can't deal with all of these refugees, right? And what did the article say? The article said that the Maltese prime minister has said that Europe has offered nothing but empty talk, right? The rest of
yeah,
Europe is empty talk. Yeah, go ahead, Saul, once again.
no,
Yeah.
no, I only will say that they don't want all that re refugee in in their country.
Hmm.
They they only talk about hell and that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
the truth is only a political thing or image.
Hmm. Absolutely, guys, absolutely. And Murad, why do you say poverty? What's up with poverty?
Because the case is I've witnessed ghosts go to Europe just because of poverty.
So
Just
is
because
it
to
just because of money they want to risk their lives because they
yes, they see other people who went to Europe and came back with many things like money and jewelries, many other things.
but have they also seen people who have died trying to go to Europe?
Yes, yes.
So they take that risk then.
They don't pay attention to that.
They don't
They
pay attention to the
they
risk.
don't care at all. Yeah,
Yet they are risking their children's lives, their families' lives, right?
yes.
In these kinds of situations, and it's really terrible, I think, right? But I have this question for Marcelo and also for Julissa. Whose responsibility is it, right? So we heard from Saul a little while ago. Europe is acting like a hypocrite, right? Europe is saying nothing but they are saying we should help, but they're not helping, right? So in that example, is it really Europe's responsibility to take care of these refugees, right? If somebody, let's say, Marcelo, let's say there is a country near Brazil that is so poor, all of these millions of or hundreds of thousands of people or thousands of people are coming into Brazil. Is it Brazil's responsibility to take care of them?
No, I think no. I think the responsibility of these people is the country where they come from. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what would you do if you were President, President Marcelo of Brazil? What would you do with these refugees? Would you just send them back? Would you deport them? It's a hard question, right?
Yeah.
Because this is exactly the same situation we see in Europe, right? Europe has its own problems. Europe has a lot of problems, right? And now you have these migrant immigrants, right? These illegal, people that are trying to enter illegally. And France is quiet, Germany is quiet, Italy is geographically so close they have no choice. Spain and Italy have to do something, right? Because they are right there. People are just washing up to their land, right? Julissa, what would you do if you are, President Gonzaga of Peru, right? And let's say somebody, there's a country near Peru where thousands of people are coming into Peru. What would you do? Is it the responsibility of Peru to take care of them?
Well, if in that country there is a problem of related to the government,
Uh-huh.
like we see in Syria,
Uh-huh.
I think it's the responsibility not just from my country, but also many other countries that are near that country. I think when there is this type of civil wars, it's the responsibility of others to help or to give refuge to the people that are dying in their own hometowns.
Mm-hmm.
So because sending them back, it would be like accepting that they could die in their own countries. So I think something should be done between all of these other countries that are near them.
Mm-hmm. What if nothing happens? So we have seen in historically, nothing has really happened, right? Some people from my country, from Bangladesh, right? One of my friends went to Rome, and he said there are more Bangladeshis in Rome than Italians. He was making a joke. My country is nowhere near Italy, right? It's in next to India. But these migrants, because of poverty, because of their different situations, they are ending up in Italy. They're working there without papers, without anything. They're working there illegally, right? How do you, when do we stop? How do we stop this wave of migration, right? Let's say people sneak through, right? So, President Gonzaga, you have set up these camps near the border of Peru, right? You are helping these people. But many of them are coming into your country. They are now taking jobs from you in Lima, in like Arequipa. People in Peru don't have jobs because of these people. So what would you do? I'm sorry, Julissa, to put you on the spot, but it's something that it's a big deal, right? Because Europeans honestly don't think this is their problem. It's not Europe's fault, or is it Europe's fault that these countries
Unless
are poor?
unless you
Go ahead.
unless you unless you receive them as refugees for a period of time
Uh-huh.
until the situation in their countries gets better.
hmm And then you send them back? What if they
It
don't
could
want to
be,
leave? What if they don't want to leave? They love Peru. They love
yeah.
salchipapas. They love everything about Peru. They don't want to go back, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, how difficult.
it's very difficult, right? What about the rest of you guys? Do you guys have any solutions? I want you guys to be like the UN right now. Come up with a solution for us.
Yes, I have a solution.
Yes, Murad, go ahead.
I know it would not be my responsibility, but anyway, I would just make some benevolence to those people and regularize their situations.
So you would accept them into your country.
Yes.
Nice. That's a very generous thing to do, right?
This is what's done in some European countries, like in Spain.
So they actually accept the
Yes.
migrants can become, okay. I
That
had
was
no
the
idea.
case, especially before the European crisis.
So now that the European crisis has taken place, it doesn't happen
Yeah.
as often, right?
Even the citizens flee to other countries.
Yeah, like in Greece, I think Greek people are going everywhere now.
Yes. For
Because of the
example,
situation.
some
Yeah.
Spaniards go to Germany or France.
Yeah. Very
So
difficult, right? Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
what are the countries that are opening their doors to the people that is migrating? I think the U.S. is bringing refugees.
The U.S. maybe, but I don't think these different classes. So see you later, Marcelo. Have a good one. I don't know, Julissa, if the U.S. is doing this specifically for these migrant workers from Africa. Honestly, I think the U.S. is actually not doing anything for them. I think this is a European problem, honestly. Right? Because the U.S. is too far away, right? So these migrant workers don't even have the U.S. in their vocabulary. Right? They don't even care. Like, they just want to go to what's near, and they're choosing these countries like Spain and Italy and Malta, these countries. So that's where we see the problem. Yeah.
There are not Syrian refugees in the U.S.?
It's interesting you asked, Julie. There's a class on this just yesterday. We are only accepting like 90 refugees a year. It's ridiculous. Just 90 people so far in this whole Syrian conflict. We have only accepted 90 people as refugees. Less than 100, right? So I don't think the U.S. is doing a lot, honestly. I think the U.S. is just kind of, Americans will say the exact same thing I told you. This is not our problem, right? I swear, if you ask a guy on the street, hey, should we take more Syrians into the U.S.? If you show them a picture of a dead child, then maybe they will say, oh, this is so sad, we should help them. The next thing you tell them is, they will come here and they will work here and they will take your jobs. Oh no, that's not my problem, right? I swear, that's the situation. The U.S. did not attack Syria. The U.S. had nothing to do with the chemical weapons. The U.S. had nothing to do with the regime. Why should we help them, right? We have so many problems of our own. So in this class yesterday, the people were saying the U.S. is the world's biggest country, whatever. They should help the Syrian refugees. Should or could or would. All these, what are those called again, guys? Should, could, and would, those types of examples, those are the modals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. People here don't think it's their problem.
Any places are rules of that.
Yeah, many places of the world are like that, right? If you tell Brazilians, if you show a Brazilian a photo of the genocide, I'm sure they're going to be very sad. Oh, this is so bad. We have to help them. But if you tell them the truth, or if you tell them what's going to happen, maybe people will lose their jobs, maybe the economy will suffer. You have all these foreigners entering their country. They don't like that idea. People in America don't like that idea. So
you can't help everybody.
Yeah, exactly, right? You can't help everybody. See you later, Saul. I'm sorry I was talking a lot.
See you, teacher. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later, Marcelo, as well.
And,
Thank you for joining. Yeah, Julissa, go ahead, Julissa.
The class is over?
No, it's not. Go ahead.
And what will happen with these refugees that are now in the U.S., the 90 refugees?
So these 90 refugees are probably very well off. They are probably doctors, engineers from Syria, people who had money in Syria. They will assimilate. The U.S. does a great job in assimilating people, right? They will become part of the society. And the article that I was reading yesterday in this class was talking about a guy, like a Syrian guy who lives in the U.S. He applied for his brother to come and join him and his family in the U.S. But it's very difficult to do that, extremely difficult. It takes years sometimes to get the application, all the paperwork and all that stuff fixed. So he does not have much hope, but I think if these 90 people, they must have been very lucky. I mean, this is, I don't know how they did it, honestly. Maybe they have family members in the U.S., maybe they have connections with the U.S. government in Syria, or maybe they have other connections in Europe or something like that. But it's a very small number. I was very stunned to see how small a number it was. Because, for example, Cubans are coming to the U.S. the same way. Cubans are America's floating shipwreck migrants, right? If you think about the same situation in the U.S. we have with Cubans, every year, every few years, a couple of Cubans leave Havana or the coast, and they come to the U.S. As soon as they touch the American soil, they can apply for asylum. No other country has this rule. Yeah. No other country has this rule. The Cubans have a very, very special relationship with the U.S. As soon as they touch La Tierra, they become asylum. They can apply for citizenship. Right?
And
Yeah, go ahead.
for
Yeah.
for Americans, it's required to get a visa to visit Cuba.
Yeah, we need special permission.
Yes.
Not just a visa, we need special permission. I need to have a reason. Is my family there? Do I have business there? Something like that, right? I need to have a specific reason. I need to get permission from the government.
Yes.
Right? So one of my friends, he is Canadian and American. So he went to Cuba with his Canadian passport. Then on his way back, when he was stopped by the U.S., he got into a lot of trouble because he didn't get permission. He just went. He's like, okay, I can go. So it's a big deal, guys. But I think what Saul said was actually very true. Hypocrite, right? There's hypocritical policies, right? Sometimes we say, like, for example, I think the U.S.'s policy towards Cuba is pretty hypocritical, right? We have so many people from Mexico, from the Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, all of these other countries in the ocean, like in the ocean that don't have this relationship with us. Only Cuba. Yeah, Julissa, go ahead.
I know, I was going to say from Latin America.
Yeah, Latin America, exactly, but especially, the sea. What's that called again?
The Caribbean.
The Caribbean Sea, exactly. El Mar Caribe, right? So I was talking about the Mediterranean. I was getting confused about the one that's closer to us, right? Yeah. So that is what it is. That's the situation, guys, unfortunately, right? I don't know the answers. When I ask you guys these questions, I'm just trying to see what you guys say. I have no idea either, right? But honestly, I think the European Union, they can try doing something, more effectively, because all these people that are survivors of this shipwreck, right, they are still hanging out on the island, right? They are still on Lampedusa or whatever, and I don't know if they have food, what their situation is. Are they in limbo? Do you guys know what that means? If somebody is in limbo? In limbo, it's an American term, I think, but if somebody is in limbo, that means that they don't have a destination. They're in no man's land, right? They are stuck between a yes and a no. They're just in the middle, right? So these people are in limbo, right? We honestly don't know. Are they going to be deported? Are they going to be sent to Italy? Can they live in Italy? Can they stay? No one knows, right? Any other thoughts,
Very
guys?
complex.
Oh yeah, it is absolutely very complex, right? Sometimes I like to imagine myself as like maybe the Secretary of the UN or something, and it's sad, right? It's very sad when we see the situation, but there's nothing we can do, unfortunately. There are things we can do, but in terms of the government level, I don't know if there's any change that we can do. Like I said, it's not our problem. It's sad. It's sad, Murad, I know you're laughing, man, but it's sad because that is what people will tell you on the street. It's not our problem. Sarah Palin said, Sarah Palin's an idiot, right? Everyone knows Sarah Palin is an idiot, but she said something like, about Syria, she said, let Allah figure it out.
Yes.
Right? Because Sarah Palin's an idiot, so she thinks she's smart because she knows one Arabic word, right? But she said, let Allah figure it out, or let them ask Allah for help, or something like that, right? They honestly don't care.
You should act so that Allah help you.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think Allah only helps you if you help yourself, right?
Yes.
People are making these ridiculous decisions, and they're going into the Mediterranean, risking their own lives, risking their families' lives, risking their kids' lives. I mean, a 9-month-old child was saved, but her brother was drowned, right? Her brother drowned in the water, right? I mean, what's the meaning of that? You take your wife, you take your 2 kids, you go into the water, and all of a sudden you lose a child, and now I mean, it was your decision. You decided to do that, right? Um, I don't know, guys. I don't mean to be so pessimistic, but sometimes I don't know what to say.
It's good to say the truth, the reality.
Yeah, but I mean, I also want to help these people, right? Because if they were here right now, sitting next to me, I don't think I could tell them what I'm telling you right now, right? If I see the real raw humanity of the issue, I think my emotions would change, right? But we are at a distance, so we can make these claims. Oh, these people are whatever. It's not our problem, right? I said that, what, 4 times already? If I saw their situation in front of my eyes, I'd probably feel very bad at saying something like that. Anyway, guys, it's late. I'm going to be heading out soon, but did you guys have any other questions about this article or about the conversation that we had? Jaleesa, I don't know if you're crying, if you're okay.
I'm just listening.
I just want to make sure, because sometimes when people are quiet, maybe I feel like maybe I'm boring them. But
No.
it's a tough situation. Very much is a very tough situation, right? Um, I don't know if we can do anything besides pray for them.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Murad, any questions from you, my friend? Seems like you are on the same page as me.
No question.
Okay, fantastic.
You're right. You just need to pray for them.
Yeah. Just pray for them, and hopefully things get better for them. Hopefully the situation in their own countries improves, right? So they can go back.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Well, anyway, guys, it was a pleasure, as always. 2 classes tomorrow morning again, and 2 classes at night tomorrow as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys again very soon then. I hope you guys enjoyed the class.
Yes,
Alright,
we did.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome,
See you
guys.
later.
Yep, take care,
Good night.
guys. Goodbye. Take care. Bye-bye. Except it's just very cold outside.
Aha, the opposite.
Yeah, it's very warm for you guys, right? Or I guess it's getting
A little
warmer
bit.
for you guys.
Uh-huh. Yes, finally it's getting warmer.
Nice. Yesterday, the temperature here was 16 degrees Celsius. Today, it was 3 degrees Celsius.
Wow. It
Yeah,
is
a big
very
change.
fast. Yeah.
I know. Everyone is talking about it. We are all surprised that the temperature has decreased by this much this quickly.
Very. Wow.
Yeah.
And it is usual or?
No, this is unusual. This is the first time, I think, in many years that we have seen a change like this. But we blame this on Canada, because the wind from Canada is very cold, and it comes from the north into the south, and it hits us. And when that cold Canadian wind hits us, we always have these problems. But usually the cold Canadian wind does not arrive until November, but it's only October, and it's very cold already. Yeah. We don't like Canada.
Because of their wind.
Yeah, they always send the coldest wind from Canada just comes and attacks us every winter. And it really is not fun. I mean, I don't like it.
So where you live, it's near Canada.
Yeah, we actually don't border Canada, but we are very close to Canada. So maybe 6 hours north of us, if you drive, you'll hit Canada. So maybe, like, I don't know, 700, 800 kilometers
Okay.
from us. Which is
You're in
actually, it sounds like it's actually kind of far.
You live in Wisconsin?
Yeah. Wisconsin, exactly. Not a lot of people know about it, but that's where I live. Yep. So Wisconsin is close to Michigan. It's close to Minnesota. These are all other states around us, and we don't actually border Canada. Just by a little bit, we don't border it. Minnesota borders Canada, so if I want to drive to Canada, I need to go through Minnesota and then north. And Murad, what about you? Any interesting things recently? Anything cool happened today?
I just went to the movies theater.
What'd you watch?
I watched the so-called Gravity.
Oh, Gravity. How was that one? I've heard a lot of things about it.
Yeah. They acted in a space station.
Was it a good movie? Did you like it?
So-so.
So. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard mixed reviews. I think people liked it because was George Clooney in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. George Clooney, I think, just attracts a special audience that he has a lot of fans. So that's interesting. And who's the actress again? I forgot.
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra.
I don't know her.
Sandra Bullock. Okay.
Yeah.
I know her as well. She's
What's the name of the movie?
Gravity.
Is it a new one?
I don't think so.
I think it's pretty new, right? When did it get released? Like this a few months ago, I think maybe, right?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's still relatively new, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Saul, how's it going?
Hi, teacher. How are you? Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good.
Hi.
I'm good. You guys are all, I guess, I'm just looking up Sandra Bullock right now. She was the producer for a very interesting show that I love, George Lopez. If you guys have ever seen the George Lopez show, she was a producer for the George Lopez show. One of my favorite shows. I love that series. It's about a family, just a family man. Have you guys heard of George Lopez? He's a Mexican-American comedian. A very funny guy. Maybe if you guys want to look him up later. But Sandra Bullock she was a producer for that show. I think they made 6 seasons, and it was very interesting. She was in some of the episodes as well. Couple hundred more kilometers. So.
A bit near.
Yeah, I want to actually go to Minnesota. I have not been to Minnesota yet. So one of my friends lives there, and he told me, you must come here. We will go, and we'll go fishing. We'll do some interesting things. Like, I want to do ice fishing, right? So in the winter, we do that a lot. Or people do it. I have never done it. But you go into the lake that's frozen, and you make a hole in the ground, and you catch fish.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I guess you need to be careful, because you could fall in the ice.
Yeah, people fall. People die every year, but I think that's part of the challenge.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think it'll be
Just
fun.
for a fish.
Well, if you're good, more than one fish, right?
Ah, yeah.
Maybe you can catch like 7 or 8. That's really good. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. Hey, Murad, how's it going?
Maybe he's
Oh,
muted.
hey. Sorry.
Murad, you there?
Hi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
Sorry.
Good. I just wanted to make sure you were here. No, that's fine. And how have you guys been? Did you do anything cool, Julissa, recently? Did you do anything interesting or fun? My life is boring, so.
The usual. But hopefully this November, the beginning, I will travel again. And after that trip, things are going to be more busier because the last month of the year it gets really, really busy. So I think this will be my last month here in Colingo, but hopefully I will be back after November.
Nice, fantastic. Yeah, we wish you the best, and hopefully it was a good experience for you. I think it was personally. I think you maybe liked it. right?
Yeah, I've enjoyed. I've learned about many topics, and I speak with the native speakers. That's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's always a good benefit. And
Thank you. You are welcome.
I don't know how to say you're welcome. I know just how to say thank you. So it's fine.
So you say de nada.
Oh, so it's the
Oh, the
same in
same.
Spanish then. De nada.
De
Yeah,
nada.
de nada. Okay. Muito
But the
obrigado
melody
and
is
de
different.
nada.
Portuguese
Muito
and
obrigada.
Spanish are the both languages are very similar, you know.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Okay. Muito obrigado and de nada. Okay. Fantastic. Awesome, guys. Well, let's get started then. We are all here. Welcome, everybody. Today we are going to be looking at two different things, so as in every class. But today our grammar lesson is going to be looking at the past perfect, right? So we've had enough future perfect for a long time. Today we're going to look at our past perfect tense, right? And then at the same time, we are also going to be investigating what is going on in the Mediterranean Sea, right? The topic of this class, I named this class, "The Mediterranean is Turning into a Cemetery," and this was inspired by the article that we are going to read about today. Unfortunately, in recent months, there have been many shipwrecks of people, shipwrecks in the Mediterranean Sea, carrying people that were trying to flee North Africa for Europe. Refugees, migrants from places like Libya, for example, they are fleeing their countries and they want to go to Europe, but in the midst of their travels, when they were in the Mediterranean, their ships were wrecked and they have perished in the waters, right? So this is something that is really sad. The European Union is looking into different things about this. Yeah, so Ulisa, wrecked is like this, and it's just another way to say it was destroyed, right? So a shipwreck is when a ship is destroyed.
It's like a plane crashed.
Yeah, right. We can also say a plane wreck, although it's a little bit more uncommon. But we can say plane crash. Plane crash is very common, right? Fantastic, fantastic. So before we go, let's just start with the past perfect, right? So when we talk about the past perfect, right, we are using. So hey, Saul, how's it going? How was your? Did you do anything cool today? Interesting?
Mm, well, 2 days ago, I starting a little course of programming HTML for my friends. I am teaching them how to programming,
Uh-huh.
and it's very hard because they are people that never in their life have programming nothing. It's
Uh-huh.
very interesting to me because I never have been teaching before.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Absolutely, absolutely right. It's good though. You're teaching. You will learn a lot, I think, through teaching them.
yes. I thought that it will be more quickly, but it's very slow because I need to explain everything with carefully.
Uh-huh. Kind of
Yes,
like step by step, right?
yes, step by step.
Step by step, yeah. Makes sense. Hey, Marcelo, how's it going? Tudo beleza?
Fine, dear. Fine, beleza.
I learned just one phrase today from somebody else on Colingo, so I'm using it. Todo beleza or is it todo beleza?
Tudo beleza, tudo beleza.
Todo beleza. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Todo beleza. Okay. Todo beleza. It sounds like todo belleza in
Tudo,
Yeah.
in
it's like
like in
how are you?
Spanish. Uh-huh. Exactly, exactly. It's like how are you, right? Or
Yeah.
is I think maybe the literal translation is everything good? Is everything beautiful? Or
Yeah, I think it's like what's up?
what's up? Uh-huh.
Because it's a slang. Tudo beleza? It's a slang here. You know?
It's a slang. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
That it was funny for me when I learned it because I use it with people who are you know, I should be more professional with, but
But you,
doesn't
but you
matter.
have a great accent, Brazilian
Oh,
accent.
thank you. Thank you, thank you. Muito obrigado, muito obrigado.
Yeah, thank